for the first time, we see the aftermath of the crash of an EA-6B Prowler from Whidbey Island. And with another batch of absentee ballots counted, Seattle has a new mayor.
Now, the team that brings you more local news. Live from Fisher Plaza, KOMO4 News. First for local news.
Good evening. A story of survival after a Navy EA-6B Prowler from Whidbey Island crashed.
The jet crashed in the woods near Forks. Amazingly, all 3 pilots inside survived. Tonight, for the first time, we hear from witnesses of the crash, and we see the crash aftermath. KOMO's Leslie Knopp joins us live near Forks with the very latest. Leslie?
Well, Kathy, the crash site is in a deep, rural, forested area northeast of here. We're just outside of Forks, Washington. This evening, we talked with the only witnesses about what they saw.
He'd heard on the scanner that there was a plane down.
This is what witnesses saw, a column of smoke rising from the hills near Cooper Ranch Road. Glenn Warzy was there right away in the wind and fog.
See it, and it was real hazy up there. We were in the clouds. It was really nasty. It was raining.
We know the EA-6B Prowler from Whidbey Island was on a training mission, a common sight and sound above the Olympic Peninsula near the town of Forks.
We both jumped out of the rig and started down the road to see if we could hear anything or see anything, and we heard it. It hit the ground hard.
Mark Johnson and his son Daryl witnessed the crash. They were hunting in the hills and heard the hum of a low-flying jet.
Yeah, it caught both of us off guard, yeah. I mean, everything was quiet, and all of a sudden everything started shaking and rumbling. And
we heard it hit, and we drove back down the hill a little bit and went over the bank, and we could see the flames, and we panicked, like anybody would do. We didn't know what to do.
Tonight, Glenn Warzy was still up in the hills and took these pictures. The fire still burning hours after the crash.
Now, we want to give you the very latest on the pilots. The 2 who were not injured are already back at the Whidbey Island Naval Air Station. The man who was injured, we've just learned his identity. He's 25 years old. His name is Mike Glenn. He's at the Olympic Memorial Hospital in Port Angeles, and he has a broken leg. As for the area where the crash happened, we expect that that'll be blocked off for a while. The Cooper Ranch Road area still closed tonight. Reporting live outside of Forks, Leslie Knopp, KOMO4 News.
Thanks very much, Leslie. We've learned more tonight about the systems on board a Prowler that kept these flyers alive. If a full crew is on board, all 4 would eject, basically at the same time. The ejection sequence sends the electronics warfare officers in the back seats out first, 0.4 of a second apart. Another 0.4 of a second in the front seats eject, 1 at a time. The pilot is the last to leave. It's a procedure that Prowler crews practice in depth every 4 years, and one that saved Navy flyer Chuck Luttrell's life 4 years ago.
It's like, I know what I have to do to survive. It's not like I'm not going to make it. It's, what do I have to do to survive? And that's just, and no kidding, it's the training just beat into you.
Eject, eject, eject.
The Navy hasn't said if today's injured flyer was hurt in the ejection process or when he parachuted to the ground.
The EA-6B Prowler is helping the U.S. fight the war on terrorism in Afghanistan. The Pentagon won't say exactly how many Prowlers are deployed there, but EA-6Bs are on all U.S. aircraft carriers. The Prowler analyzes and jams enemy communications. It can also collect intelligence. Radar jamming and electronic intelligence gathering have been crucial elements of fighting the Taliban and Osama bin Laden's terrorist network. We're following all the developments in the Prowler crash. We'll have live updates tomorrow starting on KOMO4 News at 5 a.m. Up-to-date information is also available online at KOMO-TV.com.
Seattle's next mayor is King County Councilman Greg Nichols.
His opponent, Mark Sidran, conceded tonight. KOMO's Kevin Reece is live in the newsroom with tonight's developments. Kevin?
Yes, Seattle City Attorney Mark Sidran was endorsed by Governor Gary Locke in both major Seattle newspapers, but apparently it was not enough. Sources tell us that Sidran placed a phone call to Greg Nichols earlier tonight to concede and to congratulate Nichols as the new mayor-elect. On election night 9 nights ago, Greg Nichols held a very slim lead. He knew absentee ballots would determine the eventual winner, so he was cautiously optimistic.
We believe that when we get the count on Friday and maybe Monday, things are going to look just as bright as they do tonight.
But the Seattle city attorney was equally optimistic that the numbers would eventually turn in his favor.
I'll be sleepless in Seattle for a few days, but you know, this is very similar to the primary. In the primary, I started out ahead with the absentee count, then I was behind, and I finished ahead when the final votes were tabulated.
The tabulation, however, went daily for Nichols. Here are the numbers that finally led to Mr. Sidron bowing out. Absentee ballots counted today extended Nichols' lead to roughly 2,700 votes. That gives Nichols 50.9% to Sidron's 49.1%. There are still about 10,000 absentee ballots to count. But to win, Sidron would need at least 64% of those votes. Now, neither Mr. Sidron nor Mr. Nichols would comment on camera tonight, but I am told by the Nichols campaign that the mayor-elect will hold a news conference at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Certainly watch for it here. In the newsroom, Kevin Reece, KOMO4 News.
Thank you, Kevin. Microsoft is now offering a deal to the 9 states that still want to pursue the antitrust suit against the company. If the states join in the settlement reached with the Justice Department, Microsoft will pay all the legal fees those states have run up so far. Microsoft says that offer is good for 10 days only.
The noose is tightening around the Taliban in Afghanistan. Northern Alliance forces captured some senior Taliban military leaders, and other senior officials have defected. In addition, the opposition circled 2 of the Taliban's remaining strongholds at opposite ends of the country. U.S. Special Forces are getting more aggressive. At least 300 troops are on the ground. They're setting up roadblocks and they're conducting ambushes. There's still no sign, though, of suspected terrorist Osama bin Laden. More anthrax has been found in the headquarters of tabloid publisher American Media. This leads health officials to believe it received more than one tainted letter. 63-year-old Bob Stevens, an editor in the building, died back in October from inhaled anthrax.
American Airlines Flight 587 might have been doomed because the pilots didn't know the tail fin had fallen off when they tried to regain control of the plane. The Airbus A300 encountered 2 waves of wake turbulence shortly after takeoff, but that's fairly common. However, the second wake was 3 to 8 times the normal force an airplane experiences in flight. The plane was tossed violently from side to side. The pilot used the rudder to try to keep the plane steady, but the tail fin fell off and the plane crashed, killing 265 people. Now, because of all this, there will be a mandatory tail assembly inspection ordered for all the A300s in the United States. Tonight, for the first time, we're hearing the voices of the hijackers from the September 11th plane that crashed in Pittsburgh. An air traffic controller in Cleveland heard strange shouts in the cockpit at 9:28 that morning. He knew something was wrong.
Somebody call Cleveland. They got them, please sit down. Keep remaining sitting. We have a bomb aboard. So it's calling Cleveland Center, you're unreadable. Say again slowly. United 93, understand you have a bomb on board? Go ahead. Executive 956, did you understand that transmission? Affirmative, he said there was a bomb on board. United 93, Cleveland, do you still hear the center? United 93, do you still hear Cleveland?
The air traffic controller called out to Flight 93 20 times in vain. At least 4 passengers stormed the cockpit and the plane crashed in a field.
2 Northwest Airlines security managers are suspended tonight after a major security breach at Sea-Tac Airport. Thousands of people were evacuated from the airport after a food worker from Northwest Concourse set off a metal detector but was not searched. The managers in question were supposed to push a security alarm or panic button that would have stopped the subway. Now, that didn't happen. Northwest says the 2 managers will stay on suspension until the FAA and other local agencies have finished their investigation. A 13-year-old middle school student is being held on $500,000 bail, suspected of killing his own 8-year-old sister. Police arrived at this Mount Vernon house after the 13-year-old called 911. Inside, investigators found his 3rd-grade sister dead from multiple stab wounds. Police immediately arrested the teenager on suspicion of murder. They're still investigating what triggered the alleged attack.
It's a tragedy. It's affected our officers because some of the officers that arrived at the scene last night also have their own daughters and sons at that age.
Neighbors describe the young victim as a sweet and happy girl. The suspect is said to be a reserved and athletic teenager. Police have until Monday to file murder charges. Counselors will be at both the victims and the suspect's schools to help classmates deal with the situation.
Well, the rain has stopped falling, but mud is still sliding. There were 7 slides today along the Burke-Gilman Trail around Lake Washington. No homes were damaged, but there are some detours on the popular trail. The slide that hit a Magnolia house yesterday doesn't appear to be moving anymore, but a portion of West Gaylor Street is still closed to traffic. Floodwater has created a pretty amazing scene along the Skokomish River in Mason County. The flooded river sent salmon into a pasture. Now they're scurrying across the road to try to get back into the river. If they don't make it, they won't survive. So the Anderson family came to the rescue.
So we could save the fish because if we don't save them, they might just all die and there won't be any more.
The state says it's hard to see the salmon get stranded like this, but this is the beginning of a huge run of Hood Canal chum salmon numbering nearly 1 million.
A Seattle area post office is warning Tim Eyman to stop using its recycling bins to get rid of postcards from his mail order business. Tim Eyman is known for sponsoring anti-tax initiatives, including the recently passed 747. Eyman says he had special permission to dump the postcards because of his frequent mass mailings. But now the post office in the Wallingford neighborhood says he'll have to take his recycling somewhere else. If you were hoping to get a holiday tax break, looks like it might not happen after all. Looks like Congress will not have enough time to pass a proposal by Senator Patty Murray to temporarily eliminate sales tax. The idea was to set aside sales tax for 10 days after Thanksgiving to encourage people to go shopping and stimulate the economy. Senator Murray is disappointed and hopes Congress will agree to a sales tax break later in the shopping season.
You've heard of a smart bomb used in war. See how a smart bomb of a different kind might be used to fight cancer.
Also in Health Watch, how reading Harry Potter is actually helping some kids heal. And speaking of Harry Potter, the movie Mania has hit Western Washington. This is a live look at Cinerama Theater in downtown Seattle, where a lot of folks are going in right now for a midnight show. More details straight ahead.
Well, speaking of Mania, the Apple Cup is coming. We've got to get you a forecast for all folks heading to that. Also, of course, we have a Friday and the rest of the weekend to discuss. We'll do that after the break. Stay with us. KOMO4 News is back in just 90 seconds.
In tonight's Health Watch, some encouraging news in the fight against cancer. Researchers in New York say they developed a process that targets and destroys cancer cells. They call it a microscopic cancer smart bomb. It's basically made up of a radioactive atom that's inside a carbon and nitrogen ring. Researchers claim it can find and kill tumor cells in mice. Pending FDA approval, scientists are hoping to start testing this procedure on people as early as next year. New concerns about children on low-fat diets. Researchers say kids may not be getting the nutrients they need for growth and protection against certain diseases. The New York study found that unsupervised, parent-imposed low-fat diets are lower in zinc and vitamin E than diets that didn't restrict fat. Researchers say parents shouldn't impose dietary restrictions on their children without talking to a professional first. Harry Potter books are making magic in hospitals. Officials at one children's hospital in London say the books help kids between the ages of 7 and 14 who have psychological and behavioral problems. Nurses say the books offer an escape, and Harry Potter's predicaments are similar to problems that young kids face, so they can relate. Also, many children use their own spells to help them with hospital fears like needles.
The magic of Harry Potter has arrived in Seattle. Let's take another live look outside the Cinerama movie theater in downtown Seattle. These muggles are waiting in line for the first showing of the Harry Potter movie. They have started to let people inside, so there are hundreds inside already, and you see just a long line still outside. The movie starts at 1 minute past midnight. The movie opened up 11 days ago in London, and the theaters there have just been packed. The movie does run kind of long, 2.5 hours, which will limit the number of times theaters can show it each day. And that's why you're likely to see more long lines like this one waiting to get in. Movie analysts are already saying Harry Potter is a money-making machine. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone will be showing on about 3,500 screens nationwide tomorrow and in more than 70 countries over the next few weeks. The movie is expected to make up to $400 million in the U.S. alone. Coca-Cola paid $150 million for the food tie-in marketing rights. Warner Brothers has issued 85 product licenses that are expected to reap another $150 million in merchandise sales. Experts say Harry Potter could be the iceberg that sinks the current #1 box office champion, Titanic. The movie studio is already working on a Potter sequel.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
I'd be working on about 6 of them.
Yeah.
That might be.
Let's see, what can we do next?
At least 4 of them.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's standing out in the rain out there tonight, luckily.
Well, yeah, what a turnaround we've had. You know, you go back several days and my goodness, the rain just pouring from the skies. Now we have some dry weather around and yeah, there is a chance we can hold on to it for the weekend. However, there's always something, isn't there? And I begin with a look at Sea-Tac from our camera up there on the Kilroy Centers looking out in the direction of the terminal over the parking garage. And I show you this because fog is going to become a factor, not so much tomorrow morning, but definitely by the time we get to Saturday morning and into Sunday. So factor that into your travel plans. I know it already takes a long time to get through the airport. That might add to it. 48 degrees right now, southwest wind at 72990. The barometer's rising right now, humidity 89%. Your high temperature today, yeah, 62 degrees. That was actually set last night. We had kind of a topsy-turvy temperature situation. 50 and 40 the normal temperature range, so we were a little bit out of whack there, but we're going to get back to normal. I think tomorrow will be real close, if not right on, with 50 degrees for a high. There are a couple of showers left. This is I-5 right here, the yellow line. That's I-90 there. You can get a sense that down near Olympia, we still have some showers also over near Port Angeles and just a few up in Skagit County. But generally, the showers are decreasing, and here's why. System beginning to push on inland, and you can just begin to see that clearing out over western Washington. The clearing, ironically, while it does take the rain out of the way, it kind of opens the door for the fog to form, and there's a lot of moisture on the ground, so that even adds to it. But for now, we'll have just a lingering light shower or two tonight. Temperatures in the lower 40s, so we're going to be a little cooler tonight. 40 in Bremerton, 42 Tacoma, 43 in Everett on the east side, also in the lower to mid 40s. Now, let's talk about tomorrow as we wrap up the week here. We've got some lingering showers, but they'll definitely decrease as we go throughout the day. And by afternoon and evening hours, we should be on the dry side, sort of like what's happening right now. And we will get a couple of sun breaks late in the day. High temperatures near 50 in Seattle, or on the button there, 52 in Bellevue, 52 in Tacoma on the east side. We also have temperatures in that same range and very much the same in the sky cover. The showers will gradually decrease as the day goes on. Maybe a touch cooler down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, Port Angeles, 49 for you, 48 at Oak Harbor, and 49 in Mount Vernon. Vancouver up in Canada, beautiful city there. We'll have 50 degrees for the high temperature, same as Seattle really, and along the coast, lower 50s there, mid 50s in Portland, Longview and Chehalis in the lower 50s range. Let's talk about the Cascades. If you have anybody coming from Pullman back over the mountains, should be fine. There are decreasing rain showers / snow showers in the Cascades, snow level 3,500 feet, but we shouldn't have too many problems because we're running out of moisture. And then east of the Cascades, Pullman's high tomorrow will be 53, 47 in Wenatchee, 53 in Moses Lake, a couple of sun breaks. So all in all, not a bad way to travel coming back. We've got mostly cloudy skies, some spot showers tonight. Tomorrow, pretty much the same story. In the afternoon, it will look very similar, but the rain is just about a done deal by that point. Let's talk about the 6-day planner because there's Saturday. It looks right now like it's going to be dry for all the folks who have their tailgating plans. Be prepared for some fog in the morning, but that should dissipate as we go throughout the day. You see the highs will be around 50 degrees, overnight lows in the mid to upper 40s. One final note. Don't forget our customized forecast that we now have available to anybody that has a computer and access to the internet. Just go to KOMO-TV.com, click on Custom Forecast. You can have a custom designed forecast exactly for your locale. I mean, we take it right down to the latitude and longitude of where you live. It's really, really cool. Check it out.
Rick Neuheisel's clicking on that right now, I think. Although you gave the forecast, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, Rick and I have talked. We're ready for those Cougars.
The forecast is?
The forecast is the Huskies will win.
45-14 Cougars is the forecast here. But anyway, the countdown to Apple Cup is continuing, as you know.
We have the Husky report from Seattle, and we're in Pullman, too, talking to the Cougars. Sports is next. Xbox is now on sale, and it's a big hit. Today on the Rosie O'Donnell Show, Bill Gates made a special appearance and had a pretty nice surprise for the audience.
So you don't mind if I keep this, do you?
No, it's all yours.
No, and did you happen to bring enough for the whole audience?
Actually, we've got them for everybody.
Not a bad deal. Xbox sells for $299, I guess, unless you're in the Rosie audience, and then it's free.
And he goes, well, I guess I can't buy a latte today, right?
Did he say that?
No.
It's going to save the money now. You can buy the latte company today.
Anyway, Eric's here. Apple Cup's almost here, and it's starting to pick up a little bit, don't you think?
Yes, we were on a couple of the websites just now. There's some crazy stuff
Huskies
going on
are
out there.
mean.
Oh, they're all mean. The good news for Husky fans is that the Dogs haven't lost 2 straight in almost 3 full seasons. The bad news is that the Cougars' attack is pretty similar to what Oregon State does, and we all know what happened last week down in Corvallis. Frank Chiappone has been in Pullman, and he says expect the unexpected.
Eric, Pullman is a nice, quiet little town. Very few surprises here, except for when it comes to the Cougar football team. The fact that they're 9-1 and playing for a Pac-10 title on Saturday is a big surprise here. And even more than that, when it comes to the Cougar offense, it is surprises galore. Most of the time, you can count on the usual. The quarterback will throw the ball, the receiver will catch the ball, the running back will run the ball. But sometimes, the Cougars like to get a little crazy.
There's a pitch to Minnick. Minnick going to throw. Got a man wide open. It's Henderson. Touchdown, Cougars.
In the Cougar offense, in just the blink of an eye, wide receivers turn into quarterbacks, quarterbacks become wide receivers.
That's an acrobatic catch by a quarterback.
It's kind of fun seeing other guys pass the ball around. It keeps the defense honest out there because they don't know who's going to throw it.
Wide receiver Colin Henderson has 6 career touchdown passes. Running back David Minnick has 2.
It's fun little wrinkle.
So is it a wrinkle we'll see in the Apple Cup on Saturday? The Cougs aren't saying.
Who knows? I'm not going to give away any of our little secrets, but you might see it.
We'll just have to wait and see what kind of trick plays the Cougars pull out this week for the Apple Cup, but don't be surprised if you see some. Eric?
Thanks, Frank. Right now, the Cougs 1.5-point favorites, and I think you can expect the Huskies to play like mad dogs on Saturday because they are mad dogs, mad about the way they played last weekend. Mike Ferreri has more.
Following their loss to Oregon State, the Huskies came home to Seattle for their most focused, intense week of practices yet this year. Their mission, stop a Cougar team that will come into Husky Stadium believing they can knock off the Dogs.
The biggest concern I have is that they have such great confidence right now. I mean, they certainly are. There's a reason they're 9-1. They're talented. They make a lot of plays, but the biggest thing is, their ability to just keep generating plays when they need them on both sides of the ball.
One of the Huskies' top concerns, slowing down quarterback Jason Gesser. He's been driving the Cougars' offense all season. His fearlessness will no doubt keep the Dogs on their toes Saturday.
He's tough, he's fast, he's a good quarterback, and he can scramble. But I'm going to have fun chasing him, I'll tell you.
This game may be decided by the play of both quarterbacks. Gesser still recovering from a concussion. Cody Pickett playing with a separated shoulder. We'll see which QB lasts the longest. At Husky Stadium, I'm Mike Ferreri. Eric, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. The Husky basketball team beat Alaska Fairbanks 82-70 in the Top of the World Classic, and Fairbanks coach Bob Bender missed the game because he fell down in his yard Monday and hurt his ribs and back, which brings us to the play of the night, and it's a thing of beauty. It's from the Louisville, East Carolina football game. And it's tricky. Watch the quarterback. He's going to hand it to this guy, and then watch what happens. ECU's Delton Woodard gets the handoff. Everybody just waits a few seconds, waiting. Then he takes off. He's got a convoy and an easy touchdown. What do you call this? The handoff Bluesky? Look at him there. Waiting. Pretty tricky. And it's our play of the night.
How does that has to be waiting? You got the ball. You don't want to wait.
Yes, you know he's dying to run.
That was odd.
Good stuff. Huh?
Thank you.
We'll be right back. It might not seem like much, but for Star Wars fans, this is good news. The next movie, Attack of the Clones, will now be released all over the world on Thursday, May 16th. That is one day earlier than planned. People at the Harry Potter movie this week will get an extra bonus. They'll get to see the new Star Wars trailer. This is the one released about a week ago called Breathing. The new one features more footage from the film. And for real Star Wars buffs, you can see a top secret trailer called Mystery. if you have a Star Wars Episode 1 on DVD, and if you know how to access that trailer, it's on there.
Yeah, word is a lot of folks are going to the movie just to see the trailer.
They pay the $9 to get in?
Yeah, and in less than a half an hour, a lot of Harry Potter fans are headed to the Cinerama. Look, this is a live picture. Don't you just smell the popcorn? Don't you just want to go inside? The movie starts at 12:01. Have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.
All right.
KOMO4 News is brought to you in part by Staples.